So my name is Luke. I grew up in quite a small town on the south coast of England, a town called Seaford. It's a stone's throw from Brighton, and I now live and work in London. So I'm a bit of a Trekkie. I've always loved Star Trek, and I'm particularly excited about the new series that's coming out later this year. What else do I like? I'm a Britney fan. I am the cliche when it comes to that, I'm afraid, but as I've just been reminded, yes, I did go and see Britney Spears twice in 1 week, and I recently saw her in Vegas, which was very exciting. I am a Green Party member. That's a recent change in my life. I tend to describe my life and my roles as bivocational. So I work in the advertising industry, that pays the bills. But then I also have a number of other roles that are linked to church ministry. So that includes being a deacon and trustee of Bloomsbury Central Baptist Church. I also co-lead Soho Gathering, which is a fellowship group for LGBT plus people that meets in London regularly, and that seeks to kind of provide a space, a welcoming space for LGBT people who are reconnecting or perhaps finding for the first time a space in Christian life. And then more recently, been appointed as director or co-director of Affirm. Bloomsbury is a bit of a weird place. It's both a very small local church and also a very big outward-looking justice centre. It is driven by a group of very passionate and very Jesus-centred people, and is known for its liberal, perhaps as a way of describing it, theology, and its desire to be an inclusive place of worship in the heart of London. So it's a strange balance between this regularly meeting congregation on a Sunday morning and also a group of very passionate and charged people to see real change in the world that we live in. I trained for Baptist ministry at Spurgeon's Bible College in South London, and I jumped through the same hoops as everyone else. I studied the same texts as everyone else. I submitted the same essays as everyone else. And I was at that time beginning to discern, is probably the best way to talk about it, but begin to realise that actually my sexuality and my faith were not mutually exclusive. And so I began the process of coming out to the church that I was working for, my family, my friends, but that had knock-on implications and that had a cost to count. So that did mean that I couldn't sort of receive that final handshake. I couldn't jump through the final hoop because of certain restrictions that the Baptist Union places on those who are same-sex attracted. And that restriction is simply, by all means, be gay, be lesbian, be bisexual, but you cannot act on that in any way if you want to receive ordination. So part of what I feel called to do within the Baptist Union, within my life at Bloomsbury, within the work of Affirm, within working with Soho Gathering as well, is to see that position change, for the union to behave in a more Baptist way and to allow people like myself to receive Baptist ordination. I married my partner, Stephen, here at Bloomsbury on the 3rd of December last year, 2016. And it was a day that many of our friends probably thought wouldn't have happened. I always relied on the fact that I wanted to get married in a church to be the excuse for not actually getting married. But then Dawn, my colleague and friend, texted me a couple of years ago from the Baptist Assembly telling us that actually the union had voted that it was down to local churches to make a decision regarding same-sex marriage, and so I would have to get married. And so a couple of years ago I proposed to Stephen in San Francisco, and we got married in December last year. And obviously it's been a little bit bumpy with the union since then, but yes, the 3rd of December last year, Stephen and I got married. Dawn officiated that ceremony. It was fantastic. It was your picture perfect wedding day, I would say that, I planned it. And it was a fantastic day full of family and friends and all the things that make a church wedding a church wedding. I was able to include my faith and my profound belief in God in that day, which is something that I never thought I would be able to do. I think my hopes for the future would be that there is no church in this country, whichever denomination it belongs to, there is no church in the world, perhaps, that is not a safe space for people who identify as LGBT+. Too often the church is either completely complicit in the damages and the abuses against people who identify as gender or sexually queer, or sometimes it just doesn't do enough to help. But I would hope that a real future would include all and affirm all. So I want to see a future in which churches are safe spaces and are champions for LGBT+ equality and inclusion. And then perhaps more immediately and more short term, although perhaps not as short term as I would like, is to see people like myself in Baptist ministry, in fully ordained, treated equally Baptist ministry.